Tonight, learn which major Democratic candidate dropped out of the presidential race.
And Cyber Monday saw record sales last night.
Murrow News 8 starts now.
From the Northwest Public Broadcasting Studios on the campus of Washington State University, this is Murrow News 8.
Good evening, I'm Celeste Harms.
And I'm Kevin Gonzalez. Welcome to Murrow News 8.
Senator Kamala Harris of California has dropped out of the Democratic presidential election race today. Harris said that her campaign for president did not have the financial resources they needed to continue. According to the New York Times, Harris said that she would need to raise $5 million in the next 2 weeks to be able to continue. Her departure removes a prominent woman of color from a field that began as the most diverse ever in a Democratic primary and raises the prospect that this month's debate in Los Angeles will feature no candidates who aren't white.
Cyber Monday set a new record, surging to $9.4 billion in sales and ranking as the largest online shopping day of all time in the U.S. Fox Business reports that according to Adobe Analytics, during the peak hours, consumers spent an average of $12 million every minute, and both larger and smaller retailers saw a significant increase in sales from last year.
Student housing is something most students at WSU have to deal with eventually. Gunnar Peterson explains some of the reasons some of the issues a lot of students deal with and the possible corruption between landlords and off-campus housing management.
Do you think there is a problem on campus with a relationship between student housing and management?
Yeah. This is Danny, and many students share his opinion of WSU's off-campus housing and their relationship with their tenants. So much so that the executive student body has recognized and have put forth organizations over the years to protect students from this issue.
It's a big problem across the country and here in Pullman is students getting sucked into leases or agreements that are kind of predatory.
Danny lives in the aftermath of a house that has made considerable progress since its previous occupant had dealt with the shortcomings of this living situation from the past year.
When it rained overnight, there would be like a leak coming from one of the walls, and sometimes I'd wake over, I'd put my feet down, and they'd be like literally in water. Like I'd put my socks in water and I'd be like, are you serious?
But these small floods, as he calls them, were not the issues that caused the most damage. 3 consecutive floods in the span of about 6 months flooded his basement room in the house.
My room was destroyed, like the floor was destroyed, like all my belongings on the ground were destroyed and whatnot.
Griffin even says the student who used to live in the room dealt with the same issues. What he said to be the most frustrating, however, was the fact that it was probably preventable.
They knew it was a problem. Like they knew, like the problem was that there was a crack in the foundation, and like they never wanted to. I don't know what it was, timing-wise or financial-wise, if the owner of the house didn't want to do it. But it's like you're costing my room. Like you can't put this room up on the market if it continues to flood.
The flooding has since been fixed, along with some damages in the house. But to Griffin and his roommate's surprise, they received a fine for damages and fixes that they say they are in no way responsible for. Most students in situations like these say they usually pay the fines to avoid taking time to go to court, but some do seek legal counsel. Wynn Mossman is an attorney at WSU Student Legal Services, and he told me that cases of issues with landlords is a common occurrence. Mossman only provides information, not representation, and helps off-campus students know their rights. However, the ASWSU president says there is hope with Cougar Choice Housing.
So that we can kind of develop a standard and say if a landlord is accomplishing these things, then we know that they are qualified under the Cougar Choice Housing guidelines, and then you as a renter or as a student can go in and say, okay, so this housing place is approved by Cougar Choice Housing, which means they're going to live up to these standards.
This is a small glimpse into some of the broader issues students have with their housing management. Starting a conversation about the issue and making it a priority to make this new stamp of approval a representation of student standards at WSU may be the answer to solving the relationship. With further development of this story and a hopeful response from the voices of off-campus management, I'm Gunnar Peterson with Murrow News 8.
A Pullman road was closed today. Sean O'Connor joins us live from C Street. Sean, can you explain the reason for that road closure?
Thanks, guys. So C Street right behind us was closed during the day today to help remove a large construction crane that was being used to help build this apartment building behind us. The apartment building is being put up by Kook Housing and Horizon Realty Advisors, the group out of Seattle. It's going to be about 20 new apartments in this building behind us. It's about 40 parking spaces outside for the tenants of the building. The permit was approved back in January, so construction's been away for quite some time. It's continuing, and the crane now out of the town. Send it back to you guys at the desk. Reporting live from C Street, Sean O'Connor, Murrow News 8.
Thanks, Sean. When we come back, women's soccer, Minshew, and Monday Night Football.
We'll be right back with Yoanna Lee on sports.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. And she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you, and we'll figure it out."
The Seattle Seahawks took control of the NFC West after Seahawks win over the Minnesota Vikings for 37-30 on Monday night. After entering halftime down 7, Seattle scored 24 unanswered out of the break to take a 17-point lead less than 2 minutes into the fourth quarter. Gardner Minshew is back under center for the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars head coach announced Monday that Minshew would start for the team in the next week's game against LA Chargers. Gardner Minshew replaced Nick Foles at the halftime last Sunday and played well, completing 16 of 27 passes for 147 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. The WSU women's soccer team is 2 wins away from a national championship. Washington State downed South Carolina 1-0 in overtime Friday with its 95 minutes volley by Micaiah Menes. The Cougs will play number 1 seed North Carolina in the semifinals Friday. The Huskies' upcoming ball game will be Chris Peterson's final game as the Washington football head coach. Peterson's coached the Huskies for 6 seasons, completing a record of 54-26. Peterson's Huskies never missed a ball game, winning the Pac-12 in 20-16 and 20-18, and making the college football playoffs in 20-16.
I felt very strongly that this is the right time for me personally to make a change.
Coming up, an update on weather and an in-depth look on the vaping epidemic we've seen this year.
Corbin White explains how the school is taking measures to combat the issue when Murrow News 8 returns.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He does the work of 2 jobs, but only gets paid for one. He's tough enough to feed the man that gave him a lifetime of nourishment. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. That's right. No employee of the month bonus check here. This guy, no, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. Good luck finding a gym to train for that. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Luckily, there was no snow on the ground when we got back from break. Let's go over to John at the weather wall and see if we've got any on the way. John?
Thanks, Celeste. Luckily, we didn't have much snow over the break compared to east side coast. If we take a look at Pullman weather today, high of 44, low of 34. Wind is blowing southeast from 10 miles per hour. Move on to tomorrow's weather. It's pretty much similar, except weather is going to be less. It should be 6 miles per hour, but it's somehow a technical issue. But it's going to be less cold, less windy. So move on to 5-day forecast. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is going to be cloudy, and then Friday night there's going to be a chance of 70% chance of rain, and Saturday morning and Sunday morning, and then Sunday night back to cloudy. Back to you at the desk.
Thanks, John. Still a hot topic on youth health. Flavored vaping products continue to be illegal in the state of Washington due to this year's outbreak in vaping-related illnesses. Corbin White comes to us with a look at the inside issue and explains what may be the cause of the health concerns.
As of November 20th, 2,290 cases of e-cigarette or vaping product use-associated lung injuries, also known as EVOLIs, have been confirmed nationwide. 47 people have died across 25 states, including the District of Columbia. Almost 80% of them were under the age of 35, with a median age of 24. As of November 27th, 19 cases of vaping-related injuries have been confirmed in Washington state. 5 are in their teens, and 4 are in their 20s. A vaping symposium was held at North Central High School in Spokane for parents and students concerned about vaping. It was there I talked with Dr. Bob Lutz. Lutz serves the health officers of Spokane and Usselton County and represents them on Washington State's Board of Health. I asked him, what should we do about this?
We're still not exactly sure what is causing the problem. And until we know, I really recommend that people, if they're going to continue to vape, then know what they're vaping. The reality is that vaping products are not regulated. There's no means to know that what is truly in the product. And so really it is buyer beware, unfortunately, because again, we just don't know.
The CDC recommends staying away from all vaping products, especially those that contain THC.
Recently, you may have heard that vitamin E acetate was a substance that has been found in some of the individuals that have been diagnosed with this vaping-associated lung injury.
Vitamin E acetate is a thickening agent used in THC-containing vaping products. THC is the psychoactive ingredient in marijuana. The CDC found this chemical of concern in lung fluid samples from 29 patients across 10 states.
But we don't know that this is the smoking gun, so to speak. There may be other ingredients. Vaping from this is not a safe solution.
Students who want to quit vaping should consider visiting Cougar Health Services next to the Spark building, which is to my right.
They offer counseling to currently enrolled students to help them quit, and have free nicotine patches, gum, and lozenges for students who participate. WSU student Reed Wetzel picked up vaping a few years ago, but recently chose to quit.
I decided to quit mostly because I was a little scared of getting whatever these chronic illnesses are, because they keep cropping up, keep hearing about them in the news.
Reed is a runner. Vaping began to hurt how far and fast he could run.
I felt terrible, so I was like, it's probably time to quit. I feel a lot healthier. You feel better. It comes with benefits to quit.
If you're coughing, short of breath, feeling chest pain, nauseous, or vomiting, you may have a lung-related injury. Abdominal pain, diarrhea, fever, chills, or weight loss may also be a sign.
I don't want you using tobacco at all. I don't want you vaping at all. But if you're going to vape, then know what you're vaping.
Corbin White, Murrow News 8. Good night.
We'll be right back after break.
You can achieve a lot using your imagination. I mean, I don't like to brag, but... Wait, who's that? And why is she all over these achievement awards? But with STEM, the sky's the limit. Shaboom! Use STEM to envision... Okay, I'm seeing it. Yeah. Invent...
Got any ideas?
I've got a few, actually. And create a better world.
Told you she's super smart.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at SheCanSTEM.
Well, from all of us here at the studio, thank you so much for watching Murrow News 8 tonight, and thank you for supporting us here in Studio A.
Have a good night.